It's our pleasure to stand up to kind of give recognition to our students, our coaches, and our sponsors. And honestly, I'm going to speak on behalf of the coaches and the sponsors, and let the coaches and sponsors speak for the students because they're the ones who put the work. But sponsors, like the ones who have it, the coaches are the ones that make it easy for us. Makes our school good. We put in a lot of those after hours. They're the ones that go through the hardest with the students, the ups and downs to get to this point. But what I've seen firsthand, it's not easy to produce. For example, a multi-state champion, the rest 3 times state All-Americans. That's crazy. So we'll let them speak about that. So again, thank you to the coaches and sponsors that will talk. The first one was Mr. Wilson. Just so proud of all the hard work you guys have put in. You guys have our community doing this for many years. So thank you guys for all your hard work and congratulations. So first we have our with the coach Mr. Williams. Yeah, just introduce them. Do you want me to talk about them? Introduce them, talk about them. Okay, hi, I'm the head college coach. We're from program, 3 years old, and I'm here to talk to our one state champion, Jesus Rivera. There's yeah, come up here. Has been since I started since our first year. In college, that's all I'm going to talk about. He had a second place finish sophomore, and I went back-to-back state champs junior and last year. And he's done so. Sorry. He's done so while managing to balance football and wrestling. He's a triathlete. He just found out he's going to graduate in white tomorrow, which is awesome. He's our Mr. Wildcat this year. He's first in his family to go to college. He plans to start this coming fall. I could be up here for a very long time talking about Jesus. I love this guy like a son. I'm gonna try not to cry.
what I most admire and respect about him is how hard he works. You know, he's super talented, obviously. You can't state titles off the talented. But he doesn't let that talent overshadow the work. He sets the goals and is willing to sacrifice his personal life to achieve those goals. And his body of work speaks for itself. So we're super proud of this guy. Sky's the limit for him. Thank you very much. I know all the future work of executive coaches. Cool. All right. My name's I've been the head coach wrestling for 3 years now, heading to my fourth. You know, it's always a pleasure each year, you know, to have the seniors, you know, move on. You know, it's just one of my athletes too. Three sport athlete, all state and all three. All of these took third at state for us this year. They last year qualified, but didn't get to the podium. Ended up this year taking third. But for our state champs this year, you know, it was three-time state champ, four-time has a school record for wins, career wins with 176. Tied the state title record, but just all around, well, you know, just this active. So Monza. Next one is he's put he works what he does on the mat, you know, take care of business. It shows what he's done throughout his career. No, it hasn't necessarily 2 years, but sure he's placed and improved. It's just taking the next step each year. You know, started his sophomore year, fifth, juniors, finalists, and then this year ended up state champ. Has slightly over 100 miles, which is huge in wrestling, but it's tough. So Isaac good as well. All right. Another one of the guys that dedicated his craft in a lot of his years, you know, since he was in seventh grade. I didn't reach his goal, but we're sure proud of him. And the third, he's a two-time state racer. He's here for another organization. No, we're staying on here anyway, so we take a big picture. Cool. Right, is Coach sponsoring Gomez? No, if not, if I could get Sofia Gallegos, Simple Mercado, and okay. You guys are gonna have to speak. So, Joe, I have now worked closely, but what I can say is, so I started a few years ago, about 4 years ago. It seems every year that they draft franchise, you were first, second. We've done a lot of those. They also the same group we had for us after the detectors. So so yeah, there was also the other one, best animation at Popeyes. Best thriller at that. Is there anything you want to say? All right. So now we're going to Skills USA. So Ortiz and stuff like that. There's some strap that down. Players wrestling. So good. We got some first. Is that just you? And movers.
Hi.
So also we have some students that are up here to the base end of the building, Skills USA as well. Devin, video production. Silver? Bronze medal, okay. Sophie as well was a competitor for Skills USA, and Cynthia Mercado as well. So along with them, the state champions that we have for cabinet making, we actually swept the entire competition from all the way down the line. So that's something that in my 6 years as being an advisor, I've never seen it before. As a welding sculpture competition at the state level. So that speaks volumes of our CTE company here at Dunning High School. The advisors that are with me here, I remember just Mary Anderson for as many years as I could count. And now that I have all these teachers helping me, it's just, breath of fresh air, and lots of off of my plate. We've also achieved the Gold Chapter of Excellence. That's the highest award that you can receive as a full chapter. The amount of community service, technical skills, just overall work that the students do in our program is worthy of, that to be noted. So give our students a round of applause, please. Vito's already up here, but we also have Isabella Grotto, the basic healthcare skills. The name's wrong up there. I don't have that many relatives up there. It's still ideas. For early childhood education, Olea Ortiz for restaurant service. I could not be here today, and Bryce Stark for welding sculpture. These students will be traveling, some will be traveling this coming from tomorrow to Atlanta, Georgia, and then the rest of them will be traveling next month to Atlanta, Georgia to represent the state of New Mexico in their respective categories. So I wish you the best of luck and go out that soon.
No move. It's picture time up here. Everyone's gonna come here. They've got something for you. So sweep in there. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
All right, you guys get all closed. Kind of the shorter ones in the front, if you want to keep the color ones in the back. It's good. All right, I need you guys to scoot a little bit more. Wait.
Good luck.
One. There you go. Thank you. All right, you guys smile big. Wave the wild. All right, thank you. Right. You all are welcome to stay, but thank you for coming in.
Again, another just great. We're going to hear from Red Mountain here, but what a great additional cross section of excellence at Deming High School. So just awesome. Okay, our next recognitions: the National Junior Honor Society trip update. Principal Richmond and Mrs. Harrington.
Mr. Richmond, just real quick, Mr. Turner asked me to remind people to please speak into the mic so that people who are watching can hear you.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, Madam President, members of the Superintendent W, I have the pleasure of introducing our National Junior Honor Society. I will say a few words about Harrington, and then I will have them talk about the wonderful experience that they had in San Antonio. And they spent a lot of time preparing stuff for you guys, and so I hope you'll enjoy it. Ms. Harrington has spent a lot of time working with these individuals. Anytime we need something at the school, we make sure to reach out to the staff, and Ms. Harrington's always willing to jump on board. And I know it's because she has some amazing students in her honor society, and they're always willing to help and make her town an amazing place. Ms. Harrington has taken dances and carnival in this concession stand fundraising opportunities. She's just there to support all the kids and make Red Mountain an awesome place. And so I can't say enough about her and these young individuals here that have dedicated a lot of time to supporting Red Mountain and their fellow students. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond. This trip was it was the first trip for National Junior League Society, and these kids worked really hard this year fundraising. During community service, they had to do 20 plus hours in order to be eligible to go, and some of them did in excess of 40 hours. And then they got to have a good time. So we spent 6 days traveling and enjoying San Antonio, Texas. And I'm going to turn it over and let them just tell you a little bit about what they experienced. They're there alone in this, but I've heard some really great things to say. Carry their scrapbook because at the end of every day, journaled and scrapbook with printed pictures, and they got to scrapbook. So they all have a personalized scrapbook of their memories for this trip. Sorry.
Two Charlie Wildcat stickers for the first person.
Oh, you want a sticker?
So it was a very it was a really wonderful group and over 60 of us and experienced such a beautiful place together and very memories.
Excuse me, who was your friend through all of this trip that you took everywhere with us? Go ahead, Bree.
Oh, we also might have to like. Another thing that we also learned, really was really important. After we San Antonio, there's a lot of people and it's very dangerous. So we were all very alert. Very alert.
And what did you learn that when you put away your phones, you get to socialize, huh? So we created a board to share, and there's Charlie Wildcat visited everywhere that we went, and he is in a lot of the pictures, and we're kind of hoping that maybe we can encourage other organizations to get a Charlie Wildcat and take him on adventures with them. Anybody want to say anything else?
He has like the adult all the restaurant called Culver. We went to the mall, we went to the people there, it was really nice. The towers on the Marisol. And Buffy.
Wow.
And then for the last day, we went to a restaurant called the Glass House. Amazing. Yeah, really funny.
That's true. I just want to say that this was something unique for all of us. There aren't many people that on shows like this. And there's a lot of people that I didn't really talk to for so much. There's a lot of people here that I'm friends with now that I still talk with now. And I'm fond to say hi with them. It was really exciting, so much fun. All of these games know all these people a lot more.
Yes, you go. I know, we're our first speaker.
Two trucks. Oh, yeah, double.
All right, I'm gonna get you guys to get a little bit closer and you can have short people in front. There you go. They should be pretty fast. There you go. Yeah, Bert. All right, everybody smile back today. Oh, I told them to come in, but you know, then. I was just writer. Writers are good. You probably have more stories than most of them. All right. Well, I thank you guys so much.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Another awesome programs.
All right, on to New Mexico Student Boards Association Excellence in Student Achievement Award. So every year, the board has the honor of recognizing recipients of the New Mexico School Boards Association Excellence in Student Achievement Award, which is a mouthful. And this is sponsored by the NMSBA. This award recognizes school leaders, staff, and members who've made a meaningful impact on student achievement, growth, opportunity, and overall success of our students. Each year, school boards nominate individuals who exemplify service, leadership, dedication, and a strong commitment to public education. This year's recipients reflect the very best of our district and community, and they remind us why here at Denny Public Schools that every day is a great day to be welcome. So first, we would like to present an award to Charlotte Sandoval, principal at Stay there though. Charlotte is celebrated for the positive impact she's made on students at Deming Intermediate. Through her leadership and collaboration with staff, she's helped create a positive school environment where students are encouraged to work alongside their teachers and classmates to define expectations, establish boundaries, foster respect, accountability, and community. Her commitment to student growth, creating meaningful connections, has helped foster a supportive learning environment for sixth graders where students feel valued and encouraged.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say one thing about Charlotte. She runs a tight ship.
Amen.
You
guys. Okay, stay there till the rest. Next, we'd like to recognize Charles Turner, our government affairs coordinator. First, I would like to personally say to Mr. Turner, thank you so much for pulling off the coffee for staff and teachers at the very last minute. We kind of sprung that on you in the middle of teacher appreciation week. Thank you. Mr. Turner is recognized for his strong advocacy for students, staff, and the district at the state level. In his efforts, DPS has secured funding for projects that include experiences for students, families, and visitors throughout the community. For example, automotive technology is in large part due to Mr. Turner's advocacy for our schools. He's built meaningful relationships with our state leaders to ensure that the district has a voice up north during legislative sessions, while also advocating for the needs of rural school districts across New Mexico. Dedication and leadership continue to create opportunities that positively impact our students and our schools. The board would like to next recognize Mr. Joe Adcock, our CFO. We want to recognize Mr. Adcock for his outstanding financial leadership and unwavering commitment to student success. We really appreciate your willingness to open the purse. And spend some money on our kiddos. In every decision, it's clear that you keep students and student outcomes at the center of your work, ensuring that teachers and staff have the resources needed to foster positive and effective learning environments. Your careful stewardship of district resources has helped maintain the district's financial stability while continuing to support programs, services, and initiatives that directly benefit students and classrooms across our district. Throughout your thoughtful planning, responsible budgeting, and consistent focus on the educational needs of students, you play an important role in ensuring that district priorities remain centered on supporting teaching, learning, and our students. Thank you. And last, we wanted to recognize Terry Nips.
Believe it, Terry's probably online.
She's hopefully online, couldn't be here today, our deputy superintendent. We want to recognize Ms. Nips for her leadership, dedication, and commitment to the future of Denver Public Schools. During a challenging period of transition for the district, she provided steady leadership, stability, and direction throughout the organization while remaining focused on the long-term success of students and staff. Her ability to make thoughtful and difficult decisions with confidence helped guide the district towards getting through a critical time. She leads with the understanding that the decisions made today shape the future, and her commitment to building a strong foundation continues to position DPS for continued growth and success. And so if you're watching, or if you watch later, thank you, Ms. Nips. Right. My own guy. Thank you.
Open now. But Madam President, we're going to need to get Mrs. Sam Gonzalez on the line here. She's when Marlene's going to join us in a second. She is joining us virtually. She is a charter board member herself, and she's doing some work, so she's going to loop in. So if we don't mind, we can go ahead and hear from Mrs. Berger with the NEA first, and then we'll look to get Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Berger.
Evening, President Board and Superintendent, just a quick update about our stage of large to have it applied and back to you guys for possible improvement in the month of June. To scholarships for the scholarship matches to seniors that were well deserving.
Thank you.
Questions, anything?
Oh, man.
Thank you.
Second. Oh, she's logging. While we're waiting for Ms. Gonzalez to join, I want to just tell Ms. Padron, thank you for the invitation to today's graduation for your charter school. It was beautiful and a reminder of what a vital service that your campus and the has always provided and will continue to provide for students that have a particular niche or particular needs in our community. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Really. We just got our invitation. What? We just got our invitation. Really? Oh, sorry about that. That's okay. We only come together once a month. Oh, okay. We didn't like choose to not. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. We appreciate it.
Ready, on to Daniel Caesar Chavez Charter High School monitoring report and next steps.
Hello, everybody. So sorry that I'm just popping in right now. I am a full disclosure, I'm a board chair of a charter school board, and so I had my meeting, but it just finished, so that was perfect timing. And so good evening. I'd like to go through I put together like a brief PowerPoint to kind of give an update of where we are with annual monitoring. Do I need to share my screen? I did not hear anything.
Ms. Gonzalez, we're looking right at it on each.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, then I will just speak then. And so on April 20th, I conducted an annual monitoring site visit for Deming Cesar Chavez. I met with various stakeholders, teachers, students. I met with the governing council, and then I also spoke with leadership. And the site visit was very productive. I have the mission statement here on slide 2. It feels incredibly important to reiterate that the school's mission is to provide its students with an excellent education, with effective life skills that build a positive image. We'll get to some of the stakeholder feedback in a bit, but what I will say is that the through line that I heard over and over and over again from stakeholder groups is that this school does an excellent job with supporting its students to ensure that they are receiving those effective life skills, and more importantly, that they are building students to have a positive self-image. And so in terms of the school's overall performance, in terms of its performance framework, what I'm going to say is that right now this is a little underwhelming because we're not at end of year yet. But in the areas that I could rate, what I did see in observation of classrooms was that the school's educational program is fully evident. It is evidenced in the work that's being done by teachers. The school also, in terms of its governing board membership, they have 5 members with clearly identified officers on their website. One area that I did mark as a working to meet standard, I will say in full disclosure, this would have been a does not meet if it had not been for the new head administrator pivoting very, very quickly to make changes on the school's website in terms of its governing board meeting transparency and documentation. I am quite impressed with the changes that the school has made in terms of its basically an overhaul of the way in which you can find its agendas, the timeliness of its meetings, the recordings, it's all there. So this is now a working to meet standard. The other areas that I was able to rate are the school's audit findings. They just had two this year, which related to other non-compliance, no material weakness, significant deficiency, no repeat findings. In terms of appropriate licensure, those are still valid. We checked this last year, and those licensures are still valid through this year. Um, and everything else is we will review as of end of year. In terms of the stakeholder feedback, it was really positive. You know, as everyone's well aware, the school has experienced several tragedies this past year. And while you could still feel the spirit of Mr. Noel in the building, the people were still really positive. In terms of the teacher feedback, they are they're really impressed with the way in which, you know, students who lack self-confidence and academic skills, like they're able to just build that confidence and belonging. And honestly, that was evident for me as I walked through the school. You know, I was even in like when I would go into the bathroom to wash my hands, like kids from all different groups would just be chit-chatting with each other and everyone's really friendly. And you can tell that there is a true and authentic sense of belonging in that school. Um, and teachers expressed across groups that, you know, once they build those relationships, that's when the learning happens. Um, and so in terms of the life skills, there's a lot. I mean, I was in and out of several classrooms where they were working on multimedia projects and marketing strategies. And you can tell that the school and the teachers are working hard to build the public speaking skills and just those soft skills of kids so that when they go out into the community, they're professional. Um, and that kind of echoes the other area that was highlighted quite a bit, which is that the school produces community ready graduates. Um, and so teachers are really proud of the fact that their students are out in the community, that they are working in Deming, that they hear from other groups that are like they want to hire the kids from Deming Cesar Chavez because they can show up and make eye contact and can shake hands and they show up timely and they dress professionally. And that was just really impressive. In terms of the student feedback, they echoed a lot of the positives from the teachers. They're really proud of their future ready skills. There was one student in the group who feels so akin to Deming Cesar Chavez that they want to go get a teacher license and come back as a teacher, which I think is just a testament to the community that the school builds. Um, they talked in great detail about the school's ability to build their social and their social growth, and that they're able to build community, and that the staff really cares about them. Um, they're also really like happy and pleased that while college is pushed and there were kids in the group that did dual credit, that's not the path for everyone, and so that teachers and administration work really hard to make sure that students are ready, as I mentioned before, like to enter into the workforce with confidence, down to dressing, like teaching them how to dress properly. It was really impressive feedback. Um, and so I will move on to the next piece. Um, the other piece that students were really proud of is that kids that graduate from Deming Cesar Chavez tend to come back. And that was something that they're proud of. They're like, our people, like seniors from, you know, last year come back and they give updates to teachers. And so it just is another echoing of that community. And that the school feels safe. They feel really, really safe at Deming Cesar Chavez. And then it says relational. I feel like I've covered that. And again, with the school um, that they just felt believed in a way that they perhaps didn't feel in other educational settings previously. So in terms of the governing council feedback, they were a little more candid. They are focused on improving academics. They are aware that the school's interim data, because that's what they're tested on, and that's what they're going to be evaluated on, is in need of some improvement. I have received that data as of yesterday, and I'll start to analyze it. During the site visit, what I will say is that the data that I did see from BOY and MOY does look, it looks promising. The governing council is also really proud of the school's post-secondary preparation, again, echoed across stakeholder groups, the community and the building of the self-image, very mission-driven, and that they're also really proud of the school's graduation and credit recovery. I know they just had their graduation ceremony, and I think it was 38 students that they graduated. Um, it's just, they're working very hard to get kids, their diplomas and to really support their credit recovery work. And so, like I said, the academic data is pending. Oh, I have the data here actually for the graduation in my notes. So last I had checked, it was 36 students of 50, with 4 more potentially graduating by end of summer. So that's a pretty high rate. And then the other piece that I did have concrete from the school is their WIDA access. And I was really impressed. I disaggregated the data from students that had taken the test in 2024 to look for growth from in 2025. And I mean, the majority of areas were above 50%. I mean, there is a need for improvement in the listening and oral skills, but I was particularly impressed with the 62% of students improved in their writing for English learner data. And to be clear, the school has a very high population of EL students. And so for next steps, we will continue, I will continue to meet with Marlene to ensure that data is all finalized. And once we have all of the data and all the EOY, thanks to the accreditation portal, I should be able to go through and complete the majority of the 3C indicator. And I should have an update and more finalized annual report for all of you. I'm hoping by July. And are there any questions for me in terms of annual monitoring?
You wanted to add, I'm sorry.
Well, do you guys want my next steps, or do you want Sam go and just show the next steps? What are you, because I know Sam, are you still, is Sam doing interviews?
Are you, Ms. Perdomo is going to give us our next steps, Sam? Are you still in interviews or do you want to stay for that?
Oh, for when Marlene gives the next steps, I thought Marlene was going to present a meeting in terms of the turnaround.
Yes.
Yeah, she wants to share a little bit.
I think that's Marlene's going to be providing that.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll let Ms. Perdomo go ahead and start. You're good.
Okay.
Hello, Madam President, Superintendent. Thank you for having us tonight. As you see, it's been a pleasure working with Sam. I've learned a lot and appreciate her support in helping these past 4 months, because it is a different approach for teaching public schools. I'm in charter now. It's totally different. So her support has been amazing, and it's been great to work with her. But I'll show you our next steps for the next hours. I did accept the permanent position as director. So I thought you crazy. I'm tired. I did accept like a challenge. And my leadership style is I am a change agent, and because the state is now asking us to kind of do whole school, I thought, let's do this. So did not get out of the MRI status, which is the highest level of intervention the state can possibly give a school. And because of that, the state gave us 3 options. They gave us the option to restart redesign, or closure. So start means that we have to fire 50% of the staff. The leadership would have to be removed. Would have to start from the design that we school, like we done what the school is about, the current staff, or we to staff around, and the leadership would have to go as well. Closure would be to close the school with charter. Charter is not an option because, like this once I was said, charter serves a purpose. It serves a purpose of supporting certain students that need a smaller setting. I was a high school principal, and this graduating class, they were freshmen. So I had them at the high school, and I chose to leave the high school to go to charter. I understand why the high schools, I was a principal, 1,300 students. Some kids need just that smaller setting, more attention. And have 1,300 kids. It's really hard to give every child that attention they need. Charter does that. Charter provides that one attention to all of my kids. So closure is not an option. Start, it's kind of hard because you would have to get rid of 60% of your staff. And so it shows the redesign, which means we do the whole school. We have to plan for that. So what we decided to do as a school is when we become a pathway school. Credit recovery, which means we build pathways to the workforce, and also for skills, and also for students who want to go to college, but provide the students with those soft skills, those internships that charter. They'll have some skills, some travel and toolbox will make them successful. They can have jobs that are just jobs that are the industrial, working at the courthouse, translating, back at the hospital, you know, the ones who take the pictures of radiologists. Yes, thank you. You know, so many jobs that they can have that require skill, but that's going to require us to partner up with our college. So it's going to take us one back to partner up with the get these pathways because we can't have a CTE school. Our school is too small. We can't hire out. We don't have the money to hire teachers to teach every single skill. So we go to our what we want to do is like graders the soft skills, how to do interviews, how to speak, how to dress, how to do resumes, all of that for 2 years, plus the content. And then by the time you get to 12, we want to place our internships for half of it. And that will give them the credits and we want to put them in the course and hopefully hire them after school. So that would be good. But we'll still have to show this next year, which means we have done a little bit of changes. We just assessed our students in math, with the standard, create the diagnostic assessment of math. We tested them from standards from 3rd to 8th grade, so that to see ways to ensure that they were able to algebra 2, geometry. 68% of our kids are not truly algebra. So the data is one of interventions. We have math interventions and interventions. Right now, we're testing every single 10th and 11th grade. And writing diagnostics assessments to see how many of our students need interventions. And next year, for an elective, if you want the patient, you will have to have an intervention, either math or reading plus your algebra, geometry, or your algebra 2. So those are some of the things we're going to about next year. Plus soft skills, we're going to have the advisory. We're going to create a curriculum for every 9 weeks, and every 9 weeks, we're going to focus on the area, whether public speaking, whether how to dress, how to how all of those things. And then the last few weeks, we want to encourage perhaps to the but they have to create a film that I have to present. It's done the 3 weeks prior to the skills. That is what I'm going to do next year while we prepare for to go to pathway school. We don't know what it's going to be. We're going to get the colors of the create committees and but that is in progress for next year. Any questions? I tell you, I'm crazy. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Hopefully. But there's one thing I want to say that I want to tell that these past 4 months, I have to say that Denver Public Schools have been amazing. Superintendent, I thank you. Every time I call you, every time I pick up the phone, I just want to tell you thank you. Charles, every time you think about me, you think about charter. If there's something going on, you say, hey, this is happening. Does charter want to be involved? Thank you. I appreciate that because sometimes it's lonely over there. You know, it seems like we're a little separate school. We are a separate school. Denver Public Schools has been great to them. And Carmen, thank you. The lecturer, Sarah, I even called her, she was the time to look like the face signed out. You know, just Armando, Chavez, and just want to tell them thank you so much for caring about us because those kids are our kids. They're just Cesar Chavez, they're part of our community, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to 6, superintendent reports and updates.
That's okay, Miss Ferrari. Okay, Madam President, members of the board, just your monthly glance at enrollment here. You know, good news. Over the last month, we've remained relatively stable. So we only dropped 7 kids. Not terribly bad. I know Mrs. Kroll and the rest of the learning service team and the campuses are working on returning. They're wrapped up returning student registration, and new student registration is underway. So again, we'll just always keep our eye on our enrollment as we move into this summer and the start of next year. Any clarifying questions or more information you'd like in the next meeting about enrollment? A little HR update. This is the same spreadsheet that we have been sharing all year. It'll look a little different on this one. So if you steer Charles on May, this has our vacancies that we have posted now that are for next year. And so we have on that right-hand side table, those are all of our, it has our campus positions, EA, administration, teachers. And so if you scroll down, you'll see right now in total, we have 45 positions open. We're looking to fill those. 38 of those are teachers. And of course, 8 teacher vacancies are sped. I think if we recall, we were kind of stuck in that 6 or 7 range with special education teachers all year. But you know, Ms. Nipson and her team are doing a terrific job in making sure we could get those filled. Any clarifying questions about staffing or other information you would like? Okay, and Charles has done it again with a picture. Listen, it's all surprise. It'll be a surprise every week. But listen, it's been great. It's been a wonderful time of year to be around. I got to go to the NMSU Educator Job Fair. Again, watching the HR team and their outstanding recruiting. Deming's got the best crew at that job fair. They were doing an awesome job in bringing people and bringing interest to Deming. Got to go out to Columbus a couple of times. I've been to innumerable ceremonies at the end of the school year. It's a wonderful time of year to do that. So get to see a lot of people. As I've been mentioning, we're trying to form a partnership with Marzano for our HRS, our High Reliability Schools Improvement. We had our leadership and instructional coaches do an in-person base training here a couple of weeks ago, the JROTC cadet ball. I got to go do a little professional development myself on AI and school leadership in El Paso. That is something that's in the file of really some things we need to consider and really engage in more. And that's an area of learning, I think, for myself and the rest of us. The NMPED attendance conference. I'm finishing up the first year superintendent academy that gives virtual meetings and mentoring. Looking to continue some mentoring with that group again next year. And then I had my final meetings this year with district student leadership, with our trenches and support trenches advisory group. Again, trenches as teachers, support trenches as support staff, an advisory group that we have here. And then the last couple of connect with superintendents and so with the superintendents. So it's been a great month, and I'm gonna have to really grow my beard longer if that was going to be an accurate picture. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
What does out of curiosity, what does the turnout look like for your facilities?
So, at the beginning of Ms. Crumley, the sodas, we get folks into coming in the last couple, just had a few folks trickle in for a little conversation. So that hasn't been, too great, but the intention is for me to be out there if you just want to come chat with me in a non-formal environment. So I'll probably continue to do that next year regardless, and then really consider what are some other things we can do to, we get a lot of folks at the Connect the Superintendent because they come to see the student presentation and student certificate, so that's good. But I've been talking a little bit about, what's the right format to get folks there. But I invite anybody who's set up with the superintendent, just want to come have a chat about anything that's on your mind. I'm there. I'll buy you a soda and we'll eat some chips that we're fond of. So thank you for that question.
On to public comment. Did anyone sign up for public comment? On to our consent agenda. I have a motion for the consent agenda.
I make that motion. I'll second.
Mr. Crowe?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yeah.
Mrs. Tyus?
Yes.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Rusko?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
To our action items, A, consideration to approve budget adjustment requests. Mr. Adcock.
Madam President, Board Superintendent, so we have four that are for your approval or your consideration. The first one is just some money from one function to another to cover a small deficit that we have. The second one, number 6, we're moving money to the appropriate place so that we can do the hard to staff stipends that we do. Number 8 is also on that same fund, but that is for a final that we got some information on. And then number 8 is our pre-K. That is actually a decrease in funding. That is due to investment that we have now versus what we were funded for on that. That is sent for any questions.
Questions by the board? Motion.
I'll second that. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tyus?
Yes.
Mr. Rusko?
Yes.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
On to B, consideration to approve the district operational budget for fiscal year.
I'll start us off here. So as we were developing this year's budget, we wanted to take a look at a lot of the feedback we got and made sure we made some investments in those areas. It was pretty clear, whether it be a student survey or having conversations with trenches or support trenches, that these 4 elements elevated as being very important here in Deming. Number 1, student safety, staff safety, and discipline. Our school culture, having a safe, collaborative, supportive culture on each campus, special education, and then of course our tier 1 or layer 1 instruction. That is the instruction available to all students, making sure it is guaranteed and at the right level across all schools. So these are the priorities as we continue to look at our budget, what we were focusing on. Next slide, please, Mr. Turner. So budget strategy 1, these things I'm going to mention here will be initially supported through our cash balance rather than our recurring ongoing SEG funding. This will kind of allow us to examine if what we're doing in these areas is being effective before we transfer that into a recurring cost. So a couple of broad things in the area of safety and discipline. We're looking to make some investments in capturing kids' hearts in our middle grade schools. So we know that Mrs. Sandoval had a spotlight school for capturing kids' hearts. We're looking to bring that back at the district, get our staff trained, and then also looking to bring that into Red Mountain Middle School for next year as a first step. We shared with you our Panorama Wellness surveys from the Public Education Department that gives us feedback again on student well-being and student belonging. We're going to explore if we need to do a district level subscription to that. Improve family communication tools. We really want to see if we can use Parent Square or Class Dojo for that communication. We know that's happening in elementary a lot, but really when staff are communicating with students for clubs or organizations, we want to unify that into one communication tool, and that will really help support our campuses. School culture. I'm really looking to invest in some leadership surveys for our teachers about how they feel the leadership culture is on their campus, making sure that we do have continuing administrator mentoring and coverage with administrators are out. Sometimes when they need to be out for PD or out for personal things, there's a high level of stress, but I've got to leave. If we have people there to cover those campuses, that helps again, capturing kids' hearts as well. And then really working on our improving our leadership practices. The focus we're going to work on, and as we move to the next year, we'll learn more about this. Marzano High Reliability Schools Framework, Level 1, is safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. We're really looking on immediately getting some coaching and PD in that area to kind of set that base level of culture for our campuses. Special education, we already have a quote from TASTE to come in and do a SPED review and a SPED audit across the district. Along with when that's done, they'll provide us with some recommendations for follow-up professional development, or we can choose where we get that from. But hopefully, as we look into our SPED leadership here early this summer, we can get TASTE in right away. And then, of course, our Layer 1 instruction through Marzano can support us with that Layer 1 instruction framework as well through the High Reliability Schools model. And then looking to integrate more correctional relations support that will really improve classroom education. So those are some very broad things with some of our cash balance that we're going to look to use in this budget. The next slide, however, same type of areas, but these are going to be our more recurring costs that are coming out. And Joe will touch on some of these in his presentation. But again, overall, there are some recurring investments that will be occurring, right? Including our there's a 1% raise. There's insurance rate increases, liability insurance rate increases, and of course, whenever you have increases in the operationally funded positions, that is also increases mandated for our federally funded positions. We don't get more federal funds, so we have to use operational money to make sure we support those salary and insurance increases. So investments we're making in recurring, we've invested in 6 new teacher FTEs based on our staffing meetings across the district. Mainly those are at the elementary level. That's where the greatest need was. We want to make sure we're in compliance with the state minimums and the requirements there. We are looking to add 1 assistant principal FTE. That's one of our to be at our large elementary school, Columbus. There was an analysis of the expenditures that Joe might share a little bit later that indicated we need a little more investment in Columbus Elementary School, and it's a large school, and they can really benefit from that. 2 roving elementary security guards, and possibly 3rd SRO with the Deming Police Department. This can really respond to these concerns about safety and discipline and visibility and giving a sense of safety in our schools. And we really want to look at with these new security guards. We talked about this as a team, some training and some de-escalation type of techniques, and investing in the future and some wellness rooms in our campuses. I guess starting at elementary school for those. We've shifted some funding to have some stipends for some defined campus leadership teams. We have leadership, of course, in our school administrators, but we need to foster and recognize that leadership in our teachers and really solidify campus leadership teams, move things forward. In addition to, we added some enrichment stipends to the elementaries or enrichment activities, so we can have some folks stay and work in the conductor school there. And then, of course, we'll be reopening secure school next year. So those are, and Joe will kind of illustrate that these recurring costs have really matched what we brought in with new recurring revenue in the SEG. So I'll let Joe share what he has for his presentation, and then we can move back to any questions you all may have.
Okay, Madam President, members of the board, superintendent. So we have sent out to all of the board members the packet of the budget that went to that was put together. The first few is the PowerPoint that I'm going to be going through here. All of the detail is added in to that PDF that was sent out. So there's lots of information that you can dig into as you want to. First, I just wanted to talk a little bit briefly about the timeline. Budgets kind of start in the January, February timeframe with the New Mexico legislature. We start looking at what are our needs. We go to spring budget, usually in March. It's actually going to be in the first week of April now, going forward. That's where they can tell us what they're going to do as unit value. That's where they're telling us some of the changes, some of the things that are going on. And in the March-April timeframe, we start meeting with each individual school to talk about staffing. We'll see what's going to be changing there, at what grade levels. And this year we did something a little different. We shared with each school what is the that they're bringing into the district based on that enrollment. Because as we get into it later on, we will find out that the membership that we look at on every board meeting has a direct tie in what the funding comes in. And so we're looking at that at the school level. We did have that public input meeting. And then we started putting actual numbers to everything, building the budget. Today we're presenting it to you for consideration. We do have to submit this to PED. Our deadline is the 26th, and then we will have the Mexico PED will do their review. I'm just going to talk about what's kind of involved in here. I tried to put this in the same, as close to the same format as what I give reports on, so that we can continue with the same types of lists, so that we're not trying to change everything. The slide that's up there right now is talking about the SEG, which is our biggest piece of our state and local grants that we get. Just talks about the funding formula a little bit and go into more detail with that. On the next slide, some of the other state and local funds that we have is in pre-K. We have a transportation allocation. It is not currently in the numbers that we have today because we don't have that allocation yet from the state. As soon as we get that, we'll be presenting that to you so that we can get that piece of the budget. We also have our activity funds, gate receipts as another piece of that. We're going to be talking about federal, again, defining that. We have our USDA, which are student nutrition funds. We have Title I funds is a big piece of what we have. Medicaid and IDFB. If we think about the reports that we have the pie chart, and those are the ones that are highlighted out. There are other federal funds that are included in that, but they're a smaller percentage. We have our capital outlay funds. Again, just more of a definition to remind everybody what that looks like. And then our debt service, that is our tax, property taxes that you pay. There's an amount that comes back to the district to pay for those bonds that we've issued in years past. So with that being said, some of the legislative updates, and I'm sure you've heard these before, but SB 151 is stated that we're to give an average 1% salary increase. House Bill 47 changed the allocation of the health insurance benefits. It used to be a staggered of 30/70, what was it, 40, 60, 30, 70, and 2080. DPS had chose last year to go to a 80-20, where 80% of the health insurance for employees is being paid by the district, 20% by the employee. And then there was another percent about the unit value timing for this particular year. On the next slide, I want to talk about some of the assumptions that we made. So the state of us said an average 1%. We're doing a 1% across the board. Rather than trying to do just the average. Our health insurance, as the superintendent mentioned earlier, our health insurance went out by 9.95%, and our dental insurance went up by 4%. Our liability insurance also went up by 13%, or about a $330,000 increase. So. And as mentioned before, and that also affects what we're getting from our federal funds, because the federal funds, we have salaries that come out of that. They don't always get the increase to help us with those. So we either have to subsidize some of the or some of the staff money, or we have to reduce the supplies that would normally be bought by those federal funds. And the salary schedules that was sent out to you, they weren't part of the initial packet, but they weren't sent out to you later on. They did include a 1% raise for everybody. The way we do that is we look at their hourly rate and make sure that they're getting a 1% raise over their previous one. That way, if there's any change in calendar, any change in the day, whatever, they're still getting that 1%. And that is from one year to the next. So if you're this year in the year 5, next year you'll be in the year 6, that 1% is based on that increase. So next we could start talking about the operating budget. Excuse me, this is going to be talking about the SEG alone. Kind of to break that out, since that is the largest funding source for the district. We'll first talk about the revenue that's coming in and how it's calculated. It's based on a unit value. Our unit value went up by 3.5% this year. Our membership had an overall decrease of 0.25%. It's a very small decrease that we've had, and that's mainly based on our enrollment that we have. We have our overall decrease of 1% in our units, and we'll talk about that. The detail of that here shortly. So then just a couple of charts to show what has been happening over the last 5 years. Our unit value has continued to increase, but this year we had an increase of the 3.5%. And that's all based on state funding that was done that was allocated by the state legislature, divided by units that the state has throughout the entire state. If we look at the next slide, our membership is over the last 5 years. We had a 7.1% decrease in enrollment over the last 5 years or in membership. We were fortunate from 26 to 27. It looks like there's going to be a very small decrease in that. On the next slide, we're looking at what makes up the SEG. So all of these different categories is what makes up that SEG number. The biggest piece is the adjusted program units. That's based on how many students we have in each grade. And each grade has its own different factor. And then once all of that is calculated, then they apply what they call a TCI, a teacher cost index. That teacher cost index is we get funding for the level 3 teachers that have a lot of experience versus a level 1 teacher that is just come into the teaching career. And we have a reduction in that of about 1% from last year to this year. And that's because our teachers are, as they get close to retirement, they're retiring and we're bringing in our teachers. So with all of that, if you look at what our SEG, the next slide. We did have an increase of SEG by about 2.5 million. Now, we talked about the 1% increase, the insurance increases. It's going to come up with about 1.5 of that 2.5 million. And so then the other big pieces of that is going to be the FTEs that was talked about earlier that we're going to increase this part of that recurring cost. One of the things that's happening is now the state public education department is doing accreditation for all of the districts. And there are a couple of components that are financial related. If you look number 2, there's a financial audit. That's part of accreditation now. And number 3 is talking about the budget and how we're budgeting and at a school level, what are we looking at? Okay. So that's the reason, besides trying to figure out and make sure that each school is getting their share, this is part of the reason why we're digging in at this level of detail that may not have been done in the past. So on the next slide, I presented here, and now this is just the revenue of SEG. This does not count any of the cash. This is just the revenue and the expenditures based on that. We broke it out between elementary, secondary, and then what's at the district level. Notice at the district level, there's not a lot of revenue coming on at the district level because it is based on membership of the schools. One note down at the bottom is the amount of the percentage of revenue that's going right back into the school that's earning those. For elementaries, it's about 68% of that money is going right back into the school itself. And for secondary, it's about 75%. These are also the same categories that we looked at with the units. These are those same categories in how much money each one of them generates versus how much we are spending and allocating for those. So now I want to talk about the district budget. Now this is all of the funds that we have the allocations for that we can budget for at this point that we've submitted to PED. The first one is a look at the budget that we did by function. If you remember on our quarterly reports, we talked about it by function. Is it with the school? Is it school administration, transportation, et cetera? And I did put a comparison together here of what was FY26 budget. What our estimate is now, our estimate is what is that going to look like in June 30 for our actuals, and then what are we budgeting for in FY27? One of the big differences that you see there is the estimate does not include cash balance as part of the revenue, to where those budgets have to have a cash balance as part of that revenue. Okay. A couple of things to note here, state and local. 64.4% is part of the school going back into the classroom. And for school administration, it's 5.4%. Now, on the federal side, it's a little bit less. It's going back into the school. It's 53.9%. But a big piece of our federal is student nutrition. So 38.7% of our federal is actually going for student nutrition purposes. That's the reason why that school looks a little bit lower than the state moved them. We go to the next slide. It's the same numbers. It's just broken out into a little different format. It's showing that on state and local, 76.5% of our revenue, and when I talk about revenue, I'm just looking at the SEG itself, is going to salaries and benefits. The reason that's important, we need to look at it at the revenue level, but that's revenue coming from only, is because we really don't want to use cash balance for those types of recurring charges, or you're going to end up in a financial trouble down the road. Okay. On the next slide, this is just the summary of the report that was sent to you. It's talking about all the different funds that we are budgeting in this list that's presented to you today. So there's 29 different funds that we are putting into this budget that will be submitting to PED. The fund listed here that have numbers in the difference column, we don't have all of the numbers to be able to submit that PED at this point. Some of them will be done that way, or some of them will be removed from this list. With that, I know there was a lot of information in a short period of time. Do you have any comments, questions?
I think it kind of anticipated the question. And gave good explanation.
And I want to thank, well, the board's thinking of any questions they have. I want to thank Joe and his team for just again another great budgeting process, getting the input that we need, and then really making sure we expend that money in the best way we can. We hope over the next few years this thing sort of stabilizes. Raises or minimum salaries. It's been kind of going up and down, so it makes it really hard. It's difficult to project out far in the future, and until we can project out far in the future, we always want to make sure that we're thoughtful with our recurring costs. You don't want to ever get in a position where your recurring costs get in such a dangerous position that 3 or 4 years from now, with oil revenues down or something different, that you have a situation. So thank you, Joe, for your team's thoughtful work on this. For the last 3 or 4 months.
We also have to be very, very cognizant of the enrollment too, and the membership, making sure that we've had some declines over the last 5 years, so we have to watch that. Hopefully it'll stabilize, and then we can really start doing some planning.
Questions by the board? Thank you, Mr. Radko.
Thank you, sir.
I have a motion on this item.
I make a motion to approve the district operation budget for FY 27.
I'll second that. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson? Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mr. Rusco? Yes. Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Crow? Yes.
On to C, consideration to accept quote for elementary EL curriculum purchase from Vista Higher Learning, a by-board cooperative member for a total of $462,944.98.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dillon. We're trying to purchase a curriculum specifically for our English language development block in our elementary schools and our ELD classes in our secondary schools. And so this higher learning is one of the only publishers that consistently has high ratings on state review. One thing to do is going to standardize English language across all 6 elementary schools and create a vertical pathway into 6th grade, which we know that consistency provides students more opportunities to engage and learn. And what's the advantage of this particular curriculum is it allows for academic language learning across content areas. So it's not just language arts as we typically think of English language development, but also science and social studies and mathematics. It is going to hit all 4 domains of language, so reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And in addition to when we talk about writing, understanding syntax, the way English language works, and grammar, etc., It also is going to add a progress monitoring tool for students who are English learners, so that we can better support them in their English language development. And the last bullet there is a thing that I said earlier. So, I stand for questions.
I have a question. Were they not previously all in the same curriculum?
We did not have a specific curriculum for English language development and recognize that as a need, and we're trying to fill that need now.
So that should hopefully help us with our like next group of things, if they're all on the same. Like our score.
Oh, yes, sorry. All right, yes.
Meeting in.
And again, I think in their place, I think Dr. Old would agree, this would touch, we should see some results, which is tied to what you just said. Board Member Johnson is our access source as well, right?
Yes.
And so we should see some increase, right, with consistency in our access scores, which again hits our EL, our learners, and then that should result in some increased performance on the MASA assessment of elementary, and hopefully that carries over to our SAT assessment.
Thank you.
Motion. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yeah.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kroll, yes.
Thank you. Back to Mr. Adco, consideration to award RFP 25-02 vending machines.
Madam President, Board Superintendent, so we went to RFP for our vending machines that we have at all of the locations. It's not for a monetary reason that we're doing RFPs. It was for compliance of the USDA requirements that we have. Since we use USDA money to provide students with lunches, we have to comply with smart snacks and timings and those types of things. So with that, we have the RFP to spell those out so that they can come in and provide those services for us. Again, Coca-Cola has been the vendor that we've used for the last 4 years. Again, like with all RFPs, we have to go every 4 years. This will be July 1 to start the next 4-year cycle. That is stand for any questions.
Make motion that we award RFP 25-02 vending machine to.
Second.
I'll second.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yeah.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kroll, yes.
To E, consideration to approve hazardous walking areas to provide to and from transportation to schools. Mr. Sosa.
And while Mr. Sosa is approaching the podium, I just want to let the board know. I want to thank Oscar as member of the transportation team going through the regulations and making sure that with what he's going to present here with these hazardous walking conditions that we're in compliance. These have kind of been hazardous walking conditions we've had. They are technically required to be approved by the board and then passed on to the state. So Mr. Sosa will explain that. We're just trying to get all of our ducks in a row relative to the transportation regulations for these hazardous walking conditions. Mr. Sosa.
Yeah, good evening, Madam President, members of the board, superintendent. I'm coming here for consideration of the approval of the hazardous walking surveys that I did. I did 5 of them. There's about 4 of the schools, Baton, Red Mountain, and DIS, and also RST. Of those, I found that 5 of the roadways did meet the hazardous walking survey conditions. Montes Grade, West Pear, West Florida, Highway 418, and also Chaparral Road. So they met the threshold, and I stand for any questions that you may have. Oh, that when you were sitting on the highway.
I did not realize that was the number. I drive those roads at those times. I did not realize that.
Thank you.
Questions by the board? Motion regarding this item.
I'll second it. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe? Yes. Mr. Crowe, yes.
Thank you. Want to add, consider the fact a memorandum of understanding between zoning board of service and the opioid remediation collaborative and member to which administration. Thanks. Third, the release of appropriate prevention touch points and on-site awareness activities.
So, as the board superintendent. This time of year was actually introduced to us by Louis County and Mr. Monson of the county manager's office. So this is the, there was a class action lawsuit against overload, and there was billions of dollars of payments. Said that it was trying to out through the stats. So New Mexico, they decided to this trying to this fund was based on automation versus overdose of deaths. And so 9 counties in New Mexico decided to send which and just asked the very amount of money lose. So the county has decided to their portion of this. The counties would come through the OLC and notice to us, and it's going to provide an average of 3 years interest to the district, which Mr. Adcock and that's about $75,000 a year. That we can out with the sales. In return, we would ask that we would wish to the general community to attend their sporting events. And we allow them to hand out some of the materials to the public. And, it was just good we won't during time out or whatever the case may be. In talking with Mr. Adcock and Mr. Lewis, we do that. This is a opportunity. There's some questions about what does this look like so that is something to consider. But the biggest thing is that it's a family event with alcohol type of substance that you can enjoy. There are 2 counties that are currently doing this. It's a 3-year program. We're jumping in with for the superintendent to sign. So we do this for 2 years. 4 districts that are doing this: Santa Rosa, Consolidated Schools, Consolidated Schools, and Magdalena. It's a question because things are free, we're seeing an in-house attendance, which also then turns into a concession stand. So there's also positives that are considered as well as past facilities will other than that, select some questions that hopefully I can. To go, like, who gets the privilege to go free? Everybody.
Was it every single time that it's been?
So talking with Mr. Adcock, that given, I think the short terms, the state levels, the state. So I asked you a question, so 70,000 everything we do, everybody is going through that. They would give us a sign of 5,000. They give us 70,000. Over $70,000 on me, gave us 18. And it was a lot of that money, and everything that we did. Not a president, member of the board, superintendent. So the way I put this together is I looked at all of the gate receipts for 3 consecutive years to make sure we get full years in. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but year 1 was like $80,000. Year 2 was like $81,000, and this last year was like $67,000. So it's where we $75,000 and that's all the revenues that are deposited for all of the gates for all of the events that we charge for. I would have concern about is I don't have an opinion for
like a babysitter for the kids, if they don't care something, and then send them draw all the kids, and then they're going to do whatever with that, but they're responsible to take care of them and see what's going to happen. That's it. That's what's other way out of it. We're trying to build a system where we're trying to get the parents kind of get in the picture. And I think this provides convenience to just drop the kid out and not worry about it. And I've seen that at the units that I live in. That's a concern about it. Yes, sir. Sorry. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, he's a little taller. She was on the last that would hang out. Yeah, I'm going to do that. It's right. We have some drop in our students, right? So kids there, and helps the schools. So like I support to so yeah, I mean, I'm going to procedures in place. So I try to start and that's what I would do.
And whenever they talk about, in exchange, we get to do all this advertising, give out stuff, announcements, all that stuff, like, what does that look like?
Sure. We had to give us like so much tools for an outro and I'll get doing time out.
Just like one time, or is it like every I'm just picturing this kind of
so back to my conversation last year, all this coaches put on timeouts, shooting this rigorous. So they're just for 10. So for groups, they actually have a graphic. They are, and that's it, but we don't have that. So and the first half, it's 1.5 time and time out in the second half. So they're not going to have audience scores for us, right? And so this is what we hand out to start. The lady that I was talking about, her name was Patty. She said the stages they give us in is vapes. Vapes the name of the flash seal and the harder stuff is in town, but this is very standard and this is kind of like those palm cards that you see out of the season. So those are just handed out as our spectators and there's one to the event. I mean, the people that have employees that needs we get paid. So that is the way with them, will be compensated for those hours and their handle dates. Yes. Essentially, yes, right? So that checking tickets, right? So essentially have that. But so we have positions that we can put on looking for someone person sometimes I don't have people there. I those things that might have to get back there. How to fix this thing. So there are no question about too much people that continue some of the things.
make sure you guys are familiar with that.
Second question, the company that we would like tickets, when you can scan your phone, but so what it is. So we do it so well then so we'll plan as a ticket for that. Change the market. We yes. In the competition with something, we would have to still have that. To sell some chickens.
But we need time to
I do.
I do use road fans for the concession stands as well. So if people want to use their card at the concession stand, they use the road fan. So we will still continue to use them. It just won't be for the trips to the, so do that.
Awareness information going to be in Spanish, is it bilingual?
Yes, that I can double check, but as far as, the information that I was sent, it did sound like it would be.
Yeah, we should all, get the, this might have been what the requirements are, and it's down with them, so we'll just, yeah, we'll just draw it off. It's not. And, but other words, so I mean, you know, in, chat with others, yeah, I think in general, people with, purely with customers, is sometimes we lose concern of, let's say that at the time. It means that it was 5 months, so we'll go again. So I think that it's something to look at in general, because we're trying to supervise. I mean, it's regular, but supervise when there's, it was an emergency, there was another parent there. It was fine to have parents that regardless of this is an opportunity for kind of highlight other bad even more than this.
Other questions over there?
I think the resolution will be moved, so it's levels that we have.
Mr. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Johnson? Right. See the minutes? Yes.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
On to board announcement, requests for items.
I'm gonna make 2 requests that I decided to. The first one is I'd like to know what happened with the cell phone situation at the high school. I want to just do an overview, what they thought of it this year and how did it work out, where we're at. And then the second thing is that the gate system that we've just purchased, I want to have every board meeting, I want to see how many people bought in vapes. I want to see what's going on with that because I want to make sure that if they don't just sit there and nothing happens, or like some people have said, they turn it down so that they can get through the system so that they can go to school so they don't have to worry about it. I don't want that. I want to turn it up. I want to get as many vapes and what we purchased it for. I want to make sure that we have, because I heard a lot of things. I want to make sure that we're going to get the kids in the right track. So if we purchase these and if we need more, if the high school is basically saying, or I'm hearing that it's going to take too long, maybe we need to buy another half a dozen more so that we don't have an issue if we're going to do this right. So I want to make sure that that does not happen again like what we had before that are sitting there. We should just put them in, I guess, in a museum. The ones that are there that never got used, literally. Yeah. And so I want to make sure that if we're investing in this community and into education to our kids, that we're going to be using the tools that we need to use. So that's the 2 things that I want to make sure. And I want a monthly thing. How many kids we got, what happened, where we're at, so that we make sure that that system is being used for the amount of money that we use.
And I think to build on that too, I'd like something in a board meeting before the school year starts to say what the plan is, where they're going to be used, what entrances, because I heard different stories about some being used at the front entrance, some being used to the cafeteria or something like that. And so I want to know what the plan is.
Thank you.
Any other board announcements or requests for items?
I do have a request also. So I would like to see if we can get Ben Archer's school base. It's been a long time that they haven't come to give us kind of a report with an idea how they're working in conjunction with the schools and get an idea of their goals for next year and just kind of connect with them.
Any other requests? Okay. I don't want to say.
Yes, ma'am. On behalf of everybody here in the public schools, the administrative team, the board, we want to congratulate all of our class of 2026 graduates. I know we all are super pumped up to be at the graduation ceremony tomorrow evening at Deming High School.
I would like just to say for YouTube, this is coming as a graduate, so it's not because she doesn't support them, it's the emotional, the mother.
Thank you. Okay, we already got board member requests for items information. Now is your last chance.
It's not, you can always email us. But
Okay, the board will be having the next regular meeting of the Emmett Shockley Administration Building on June 18th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. I have a motion to adjourn the open meeting and move into closed executive session where no action can be taken. The board will enter closed executive session specifically for the discussion of what's permitted by 10-15-1 H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act regarding limited personnel matters related to employees, including those with grievances and or on leave, and also including the end of year evaluation and contract discussion of the superintendent. Also is permitted by 10-15-1 H4 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, discussion of personally identifiable information about any individual students. To repeat all. Do I have a second? I'll second. Mr. Pro?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Johnson?
Yeah.
Mrs. Paez?
Yeah.
Mrs. Crumley?
Yes.
Mr. Orozco? And Mr. Kroll, yes. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Bye, everybody. Thank you. I'm the students.
Yeah.